is going to carry us forward, through the impacts of COVID-19.
There's still hope that downtown Cleveland will thrive again. We are there as restaurants reopen for indoor dining.
We are open.
Plus, the CDC confirms COVID-19 does not spread as easily from surfaces as it does person to person. What does that mean for your groceries and packages? A medical expert joins us to answer that question. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to What's New. What a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous afternoon. I certainly hope you had a chance to go outside and enjoy some of the weather. I'm Jay Crawford. Monica Robbins is in for Betsy today. Monica, we're very glad to have you in. Great to see you again. We have a busy show lined up today.
Yeah, we do, Jay. Thank you so much for having me here. Well, let's start with some startling numbers, as you kind of mentioned off the top. Within the last 24 hours, 731 new COVID-19 cases have been reported. It's the highest day-to-day spike we've seen since May 8th. We now have 30,167 cases here in Ohio. Over the last few days, the day-to-day increase has hovered on the higher end of 400. Dr. Atkins says they're looking at all sorts of numbers, and we should look at numbers over several days, not just one. And just as we see a spike in cases, the state announced that weddings will soon be able to go on this summer and contact sports can begin. Laura Queso watched today's news conference. Laura, there are some restrictions, though, when it comes to all of this, right?
Yeah, that's right, Monica. There are. And while things continue to open, there are guidelines. And social distancing is really at the top of the list, especially when it comes to large events. This is news, again, coming from state leaders really just a couple of hours ago. So starting June 1st, catering and banquet halls can reopen under similar guidelines as restaurants. That includes 6-foot distancing between tables, no congregating, and crowds are limited to 300. The question here, what does this do to dance floors? Because guests are not supposed to stand and they're not supposed to mingle. All right, on May 26th, along with the opening of gyms and fitness centers, state leaders say bowling alleys, miniature golf, and batting cage facilities can open. And contact sports like football and basketball can resume skill training. That includes weight training, agility, and conditioning, again on May 26th. Keep this in mind, though. Teams are allowed to train, but tournaments, scrimmages, and competitions are not allowed. State leaders have not made a decision on when those will be allowed to start up again.
We recognize that there are a lot of weddings and events that are important to people's lives that can and should go on. We are just asking that it be done safely as possible to avoid the spread of the virus. We recognize that people want to go on with life, and we are trying to provide guidelines and recommendations as to how you can do so as safely as possible.
So we're still waiting for some reopening dates. That includes casinos, water parks, museums, and also movie theaters. But again, a lot of news coming from the governor and lieutenant governor just today. Monica.
Oh, thank you, Laura. I'm sure a lot of people are happy to hear that. Jay?
Well, now on to your feed at 5. And first up there, today is the day that restaurants can finally offer inside dining. It's been a long time in the making. Our Andrew Horansky is live outside the Chocolate Bar. Drew, they just opened the doors about 2 hours ago. What's the crowd look like? Is there a crowd?
Well, people are trickling in, Jay, but I can tell you it's like opening day, but for restaurants, seeing some of the familiar old things here. They're making signature martinis again. Some things, of course, are new because of COVID-19. If you take a look in the dining room right now, you will notice fewer tables, some of the dividers between those tables, and you'll notice something else when you come in the front door. Joining me right now is Sean Freeman, one of the owners here, and tell me a little bit about what this is about.
Okay, well, the National Restaurant Association, they do some training, and one of the great things that they did with coronavirus and with COVID-19 is they offered training for delivery and for takeout, and now that we're reopening, they offered classes for how to reopen and things we should expect and things we should do with the reopening.
And now that you reopen, how are you feeling today? I mean, obviously this has been 2 months in the making.
Well, a little nervous, and now that we're open, now that the doors are open, we are relieved, and we are excited, and we're anticipating seeing a lot of great faces coming back.
And a lot of things you're doing different. I know people are wondering about what kitchens look like, and you're going to let us take a look if we can maybe take a step back, because the social distancing even applies there as well. You have a new menu that takes some of that into account. And tell me a little bit more about the menu and what you're doing sort of back here where maybe people don't always see when they come into your restaurant.
So we spent some time, one of the guidelines is that we had to come up with a floor plan for the kitchen. And we spent some time making sure that our people in the kitchen wouldn't be crossing over each other as much, and they could spend as much time social distancing because with best practices, you try and do the best we can. We do have the floors marked with where they're supposed to be, some X's, some places where we want people to be standing for the most part. If they have to go down and grab something, that's a best practice, but we really do want to, keep people in where they need to be, and we retooled the menus so that was able to be done.
And really quickly, some restaurants took sort of a wait-and-see approach. Why was it important for you to be among the first wave to reopen?
Well, I think that we feel the Chocolate Bar is a part of Cleveland. We've been here 10 years, and I always say that we're in the best location in the nation. We're right around the corner from all the great events and the great things. And I think that coming back into Cleveland, I think that we needed it ourselves, but I think the city of Cleveland coming back and seeing us, we kind of all need a martini here and there.
That's right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on your reopening. We'll send it back to you, Jay.
All right, Drew, very well done. A very interesting look inside the new normal for restaurants in Cleveland. Now, here in Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine has said that COVID-19 has peaked and we're ready to slowly reopen. But with rising case numbers, our reopening can lead to some uneasiness. That's why 3 News investigator Rachel Polanski is taking a deeper look at the data.
More than 30,000 cases. That number can make anyone nervous. But today we're not going to focus on cases. Instead, we're going to focus on hospitalizations and deaths. And from data we took from the Ohio Department of Health, both indicators have been trending downward for weeks. Let's take a look. Since the first death in March, we saw a steady rise in deaths. All the way through April, over 300 in the last 7-day span. Since then, however, deaths have slowly dropped to 237 in the most recent week. And now we're at 1,836 overall. In the past 3 weeks, we've seen hospital use drop almost 8%, from 1,064 on May 6th to 981 on May 17th. ICU placements dropped nearly 11%, and ventilator use is down 10%. I also analyzed COVID-19 cases and deaths by demographic and race, and all of that part of the story for you tonight at 6 on What Matters Most. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
Well, we learned today that tens of thousands of lives could have been saved had the country locked down just 1 week earlier. Dr. Vin Gupta is here to help us dig into that number. He's a physician, professor, and health policy expert who's worked with both the CDC and the World Health Organization. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Gupta. Where did this number come from?
Basically, it was informed by disease modelers that looked at what happened in places like Wuhan or Lombardy in Italy, and strong, unified social distancing policies up front in those places really impacted the trajectory of those pandemics. You saw in Wuhan a pandemic that essentially lasted 8 weeks. It was an epidemic, and then essentially now they've been able to reopen up pretty safely. We took a patchwork approach, as has been well characterized. But if that same approach had been taken, if basically they made those assumptions that this is what happened in Wuhan, let's transpose that to what we know now has happened in the United States over the last 8 weeks, what would have looked, would our reality have looked different? And that's how they're modeling it. They're basically putting those assumptions from Wuhan and Italy onto the United States. And that's where you're seeing that drastic difference in forecasts. Basically, had we closed up on March 1st instead of March 15th, give or take a few days depending on the state, we would have saved 80% of the lives we've lost thus far. So I think it's a damning account of our government and the inaction at the federal level.
Well, the CDC now has also confirmed that the virus doesn't spread as well on surfaces as it does person to person, so that social distancing is key. But what does this mean for those who've been wiping off their groceries or their delivery boxes.
It's my opinion that the CDC should not have issued these guidelines just as we're opening up. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The CDC has been lagging in their guidance for weeks now. And now suddenly we're saying, as we're opening up societies, don't worry about a key infection control measure. The data isn't there yet. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of knowledge on COVID-19 that remains pretty nascent. We should be over-indexing on infection control. So my guidance would be, if you've been cleaning off your workspace, if you've been Purelling after opening a public door when you're out and about at a grocery store, keep doing it. Don't let your guard down just because the CDC issued this advice, because that's the big fear here. We're going to start letting our guard down and there'll be a second wave. Let's do what we can to control spread, basic things like hand hygiene.
So keep following the guidelines we know absolutely work. Dr. Vin Gupta, thank you so much. Of course, we're going to have much more on this tonight at 6:30 on Nightly News with Lester Holt.
All right, let's get a check of some of the other headlines making news at 5 o'clock. For that, we go back to the WKYC studios and say our first hello of the day to Russ Mitchell. What a beautiful day out, Russ. What a beautiful day.
It's a top-down kind of day, Jay. I think so. A beautiful day. Good afternoon to you. Actress Lori Loughlin and her husband are going to prison. The couple has pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges after paying $500,000 to get their daughters into USC as fake crew team recruits. Loughlin will serve 2 months. Her husband, fashion designer Massimino Giulianulli, will serve 5 months. We learned today that there will be no Ohio State Fair this year because of coronavirus concerns. However, fair officials say they are working on a way to celebrate agriculture with digital content on social media. And Ohio continues to see record unemployment numbers. We now topped 1.2 million claims in the last 9 weeks. Get this, that is more than the total of number of those filed during the last 3 years. Wow, these numbers just get more scarier every single day, Jay.
They sure do. Russ, thanks. We'll see you in about a half hour.
See ya.
Here's a little something to lift our spirits. Check out these images of rainbows hovering over Northeast Ohio. They were captured early this morning. Jeremy Dyrek took a picture of this double rainbow in Stark County. That's a beauty. And Debbie Bretz sent us this image from Akron. Jeremy and Debbie, many thanks for the beautiful images. Please do keep them coming. Monica?
Hey, time for a senior shout out. Malachi DeJesus is graduating from Lincoln West High, where he plays football. Malachi will go to Cleveland State this fall. Of course, you can send us your senior shout out on WKYC.com/senior shoutout. And Memorial Day weekend is the time to save big. How the holiday sales, though, are different this year. And Stephanie, what's clicking in Cleveland?
Monica, we have great news for the I Promise housing development coming to Akron and what you need to know about Amazon Prime Day. Now, Matt, I think you have good weather news for us.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi there, everybody. Beautiful here up near the lake, but we had showers as you get further inland as expected. We all get showers tomorrow, and then we talk spring sizzle. I've got your latest 7-day forecast coming up.
Yes, I am.
Welcome back to What's New. This weekend could be huge for brick and mortar retailers, and it couldn't come at a better time. This is the first holiday that they'll be open since the stay-at-home order was lifted, and shoppers are already scooping up huge deals, and they are everywhere too. Sales are big on clothing right now, and they're going to be even bigger than ever since stores weren't able to get rid of all of their spring merchandise. Savings on grills as well as outdoor furniture will also be hot, which is unusual for this time of year. Usually it's a couple of months earlier, but they know that people are itching to get out after being cooped up, and stores are making sure shoppers do their part to stay safe.
I think stores have worked really, really hard to make it safer for patrons, and I think they're showing us that they value us. I was one of the first few in the store here, and everybody was so happy to see us, and it's a positive experience.
All right, so clothes and that outdoor grilling stuff, that's going to be huge. You're also going to find deals on bedding and mattresses. Since people like to lay on the beds before buying, stores like Northeast Factory Direct have ordered those disposable sheets. That way, once one customer tries it out, you can take the sheet, throw it out, and it's safe and ready for the next person to kick the tires. Shopping analysts say the online deals will be just as good. So that's good news. That hopefully will help stimulate spending and get the economy churning. Speaking of getting churning, we now turn to Matt Wentz. And Matt, I got to say, I am shopping for sunshine every day of Memorial Day weekend. I hope you can fill that order. I know it's a very tall task, but man, the weather was gorgeous today, and I would love a couple more days of it. And by the way, in the vein of our story we just completed, your weather word today will be, this is going to be tough, too, to fit in a weather forecast.
Oh,
bargain.
Jay.
That won't be easy, friend.
Bargain.
Yeah, bargain.
No, I don't think I've ever said bargain in a weather forecast before. But Jay,
we'll
work that in. And listen, yeah, you always do. We are going to get sunshine every day of your Memorial Day weekend. But the problem is we're turning to the summertime pattern, so we're also going to introduce showers and thunderstorms mainly during the afternoon with that heating of the day. A big old pattern change on the way across Northeast Ohio. Let's talk weather today, though. Yeah, it was beautiful in the greater Cleveland area. It was beautiful out east. But it was another rainy day within miles of Cleveland. You look down towards areas of Huron County, Mansfield. You had on and off showers all day again today. That sunshine went away as soon as you hit about the 71 corridor. Right at the Lodi exit is where we turned into those clouds, and you can see we still have some of those showers down to the south. Overall, we are dealing with generally a low pressure that's down to the south that will continue to head off towards the north over the next 24 hours, and that will bring some of those showers into the greater Cleveland area as we go throughout the overnight and tomorrow. I have lost internet here, I think. I'm not seeing any of my graphics, but hopefully they're still moving. But we're going to see rain continue to pick up overnight tonight and tomorrow as well. Your get outside forecast looking pretty good tonight. It really depends on where you are, but out towards the east, if you're heading out towards the vineyards, we're looking great. I think the showers stay away. We'll stay with these partly cloudy skies overnight tonight. All right, let's go hour by hour through your forecast with your National Design Mart forecast. You can see tonight some of those showers working back into the areas. That low pressure heads off to the north. Another pretty comfortable night. We'll drop back into the 50s area wide with a nice southeast wind. Your Friday does look cooler and rainier area wide. We're not going to get this beauty of a day we had across the northeastern half of the viewing area. Temperatures ought to stay in the 60s. I think low 70s if we get some drying. And the showers, it's not going to be a washout. They're going to be kind of come and go showers throughout the day. Saturday's the transition day. We start on the cooler side, kind of refreshing to start your Saturday morning. But by Saturday afternoon, we're warming nicely. I think mid and upper 70s area wide. A stray leftover shower out in the northeastern half of the area. But overall, we're going to be dry on Saturday. And look what happens after that. We turn muggy. Not just humid around here, but oppressively humid. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It is going to be a pattern flip around here. It'll feel more like summertime around here, but it's definitely going to be a change. We haven't had an air mass like that quite yet. So here's the pattern over the next week or so. Look at the coverage of the showers and thunderstorms across the eastern half of the United States. I promise it's not a lazy forecast, but I'm going to go 40 to 50% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms every day next week because that moisture is going to stay in place, not just on your Memorial Day, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it does look like late next week we finally clear things out with a front that'll move through. But look at the temperatures. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. We get a bargain the next 2 days with temperatures up near 70 degrees, 74 on Saturday, and then look at the heat, 84 degrees. We could have some 85s and 86s in there with some sunshine, but hot and humid for your Memorial Day and beyond. In fact, overnight lows are going to struggle to drop below 70 at times. So if you haven't, I don't know what you do to air conditioners, if you haven't oiled your air conditioner or whatever you do, clean it off. You might need it this week.
I don't think you oil them, but that's okay. I love the way you fit bargain into your forecast, Matt. I'm buying what you're selling, and I'm getting it at a bargain price. Listen, Matt, enjoy the rest of the beautiful weather. We'll check in with you again in about 30 minutes. Up next on What's New, bad news for Victoria's Secret, and LeBron James writes a very big check to help the I Promise Dream expand its services. It's all next when we go clicking in Cleveland. Stay with us.
Yeah. The money didn't come from LeBron. Yeah. Yeah, they'll forget it. It's fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time to see what's clicking in Cleveland with our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey there, Monica. Well, you know, lots of us have been experiencing delays with Amazon Prime, and here is another one coming, and it's about Prime Day. So Prime Day first started in 2015, and it's Amazon's most lucrative shopping day in July with really good deals on electronics and other things that you have to be a member to take advantage of. But they just can't swing it anytime soon with all those online orders happening. So now we all have to wait till September to buy all of those things that, to be honest, we really don't need. Here in Ohio, we've got some tough news for the Ohio-based company L Brands. They're going to be shutting down a lot of Victoria's Secret stores and Bath & Body Works locations after a tough quarter. So they'll be closing 250 Victoria's Secret stores to be exact. And the idea is to prepare that brand to operate as a separate, standalone company and let Bath & Body Works be a niche public company of its own, despite closing 50 of those stores. And if you remember, Les Wexner, who founded L Brands, he stepped down as CEO in May. That was tied, among other things, to the expected sale of Victoria's Secret, but that deal fell through. Okay, here's the good news for you. That I Promise housing development that's coming to Akron just got about 10 million steps closer to happening. The project has been awarded $10 million in tax credits by the Ohio Finance Housing Agency. Just a half mile from the school location, the development will have 50 affordable housing units. Those residents will have access to job and family services, medical and mental health care, education and job and financial literacy training. And the idea here is to link housing policy to school reform. So the total bill for this project is about $13 million. So this $10 million tax credit will go a long way, Monica, not only to getting that built, but also with that programming that they're planning to have.
Boy, that's amazing news, Stephanie. Thank you so much. All right, still ahead on What's New, life in Cleveland. We take a look at the scene downtown as restaurants begin to reopen and what's in store for the city's future. As businesses reopen, we're being asked to be patient with workers. Our Mike Polk gives us a lesson in being kind to one another. And it's grilling season. Chef Rocco Whalen showing us how to get the perfect flavor in your food. Stay with us.
Hey, how we sounding there, Frag? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Good. Yourself? Got it. Coming out.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is, and what an outstanding day today. Gorgeous weather, finally feels like spring. Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for choosing What's New. I'm Jake Crawford. Monica Robbins is in for Betsy today. Monica, we do something every day at 5:30. It's a Make You Smile segment, something we like to call Tell Me Something Good, and I'm told you have a pretty cool one today.
3 words, Jay. Yep, beer and dogs. That's all you need to know. The owner of a brewery in Long Island enlisted her golden retrievers to make deliveries during the pandemic. Buddy and Barley bring empty cans to customers while everyone else does all the heavy lifting. The dogs have become unofficial therapy dogs, delivering the kind of cheer you simply just can't put a price on. However, you know, Jay, dogs do make everything better. And with the amount of alcohol that's been selling lately, apparently so does beer in moderation. But I seriously need to teach Fergus how to make some Lynchburg lemonade and bring me that. You know, that's going to take a few years for him to learn.
Yeah, that would be a great trick. I don't know about Fergus, Monica, but we actually finally, long overdue, had Layla and Maddie, our 2 Goldens, were finally groomed today. And I'm telling you, they look like polar bears. I can only imagine what Fergus looked like because he's probably the hairiest dog that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I had him groomed last week, and I thought he'd gained some weight and got a little bigger. No, as soon as all the hair was brushed out of him, they literally brushed out another dog. So he's all.
I can imagine.
He's got his summer swimsuit weight going right now, so he's good to go.
Very good. And I'm glad to hear Fergus didn't pick up the quarantine 15. What a beautiful dog. Okay, we move on. All right, it is time for our top talker at 5:30. Ohio restaurants flipped the signs today, no longer closed for inside dining. Those restrictions have now expired. Most of Cleveland's government buildings, private offices, and businesses have been closed for much of the last 2 months or more, leaving downtown sort of frozen in time. If you've seen it or been down there, it's very eerie. But Governor Mike DeWine lifting some of the restrictions should help, including the stay-at-home order. Downtown is starting to slowly spring back to life now. Downtown Cleveland Alliance, a nonprofit that works to improve life for people working and living in the city's central business district, recently surveyed residents, office workers, and visitors about coming back, and here's some of what they had to say.
We know that people are very comfortable, about 70%, in dining outdoors on the patio. We know about 60% of office workers are planning to return to the office in the next 3 months. So that's an employment base of about 105,000 workers. Residents, we're, marching towards 20,000 residents by the end of the year. We will be back. There's a lot of momentum that has led to downtown's energy over the last 15 years. And we know that momentum is going to carry us forward, through the impacts of COVID-19.
That is certainly the hope. There's still a lot of government buildings that are idle for now, including the courts and the convention center, which of course drives a lot of downtown activity. Some business leaders told 3 News today that they're optimistic more will open up soon. Monica?
Well, Jay, Cleveland Clinic is doing much more than helping United Airlines come up with protocols for keeping their employees safe. They've also come up with employer playbooks for various industries on how to keep workers and customers safe that are free to download. United reached out to Cleveland Clinic for guidance on cleaning, safety, and social distancing protocols. That includes masks, touchless kiosks, and sneeze guards. Clorox is also helping the airline with how to properly disinfect aircraft. But any company or business owner can take advantage of the clinic's info.
No individual tactic is perfect. It's like a piece of Swiss cheese. But when you line up a bunch of tactics next to each other, you create a better barrier. And, you're not going to stop the safety events all the time, but you're going to get most of them the more barriers you can put into place. So if you think about masking, right, it's not perfect, but it's one element. If you think about hand sanitizing, not perfect, but another element. Social distancing, not perfect, but another. You start to line these things up and you increase the chance that you're going to prevent transmission.
Now, you can find the downloads on atmyclevelandclinic.org by searching Employer Solutions, and companies can also contract with the clinic doctor on site for an on-site analysis for a fee. All right, time to check back with Russ Mitchell for more of today's news headlines. Hey, Russ, how you doing?
I am doing just fine, Monica. We miss you down here on Lakeside Avenue, but hope to see you soon. Here's what is happening. The move to put 6 wind turbines in Lake Erie, 8 to 10 miles off the shore of Cleveland, just got a big boost. A state board approved construction of the Icebreaker Wind Power Project today. Also, University Hospitals is taking part in a new study to see whether plasma donations from someone who's recovered from COVID-19 can help a patient fighting the virus. It will determine if antibodies from the plasma can help patients improve faster. And the Cleveland Metroparks Zoo drive-thru experience is now underway. Cruise the Zoo is actually a fundraiser for the zoo, which says it lost more than $5.5 million since closing because of the coronavirus. If you want to drive through the zoo, you need to make a reservation online. It's from 10 until 4 each day through the end of the month. And Monica, it looks like a lot of fun.
It does, Russ. Thank you so much. You stay safe out there, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Well, we've seen several posts on social media asking people to be patient with restaurant workers, hairstylists, and other industries as they prepare to reopen their doors. And it's something we all really need to do. We decided there was no one better to drive that point home than our funny man, Mike Polk.
Well, ready or not, Ohio, the bar is open and the soup's on as restaurants and taverns across the state reopen today. And with that comes more than a little uncertainty. I've been checking out the rules and guidelines laid out under the state's Responsible Restart program, and I gotta tell you guys, they run the gamut from vague to logistically problematic to, does this even really need to be said? For example, 2 of the new guidelines require daily cleaning for the entire establishment and regular hand washing by employees. I'm sorry, but were places not already doing those things before the pandemic? This is what it took? Face coverings are required to be worn by employees at all times, with some exceptions. And by that I mean many exceptions, including one that states that employees don't have to wear a mask if there is a functional, practical reason for an employee not to wear one, which seems pretty subjective. Say, for example, I claim that I can't wear a mask because I have chronic halitosis, and that submitting myself to my own bad breath for a whole shift is cruel and unusual punishment. Would my employer challenge me on that? Maybe. But if so, I'll bet I could find a lawyer to take my case.
I'm Tim Misney. You know what I do.
Bars are also required to post a list of COVID-19 symptoms in a conspicuous place and to ask customers not to enter if they are feeling symptomatic. I guess we're all essentially working on the honor system, but with a plague. What could go wrong? For safety reasons, dining parties are now limited to no more than 10 people. Whoa, only 10 people. Way to lay down the hammer, Ohio. Who is this rule meant to discourage? End-of-the-year high school sports banquets? Also, bar games like pool and darts are off limits until further notice, because that Golden Tee machine is apparently a bacterial petri dish. Who knew? And also, you have to be seated while you're eating, which is obviously bad news for people who love crushing chicken quesadillas while standing on the dance floor. Also, there is currently no dance floor. That's right, folks. Ohio is now like the town from Footloose, where dancing is illegal. Does everyone have all that? Believe me when I say that I want restaurants and bars to be open. I love bars. I was raised in them. I'm just trying to point out some of the complications that these places are going to be up against during this time, and to remind everybody that if you do go out this weekend, please be patient with the waitstaff and employees, and remember that they don't have all the answers either. We're all trying to figure this out together. And hey, kitchen staff, please remember that newfangled rule that says you now have to wash your hands. We're all making sacrifices right now. This is Mike Polk, Party of One for 3 News.
Yeah, Mike, I think I'm with you. I would like to believe that restaurants always clean daily and the restaurant employees are always encouraged to wash their hands often. What's new?
Yeah, I was pretty upset to see that particular rule. I don't know how you're feeling about going back to the bars and restaurants yet, Jay, and I want to hear about that. But I'll tell you, my personal stance is I'm looking at it as sort of like when I got LASIK eye surgery. I'm going to wait and make sure that enough people don't go blind before I start going to restaurants and bars again. That's my approach.
So what has LASIK been out now, Mike, like 25 years? Just somewhere in there?
Oh, I won't wait that long to get back in a bar, Jay. I promise you that.
Well, no, I won't either. I can guarantee you that. My wife is still taking a wait-and-see approach on the LASIK. She's like, I don't know. It's not proven to be safe to me. One other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Did you see the absurd rules? You can play tennis now, which is good news.
Right.
But here's one of the absurd rules. Avoid touching the tennis ball with your hand. That might make serving a little difficult.
That's going to make a lot of things really tricky. That also means unless you have a ball boy with you or a team of ball boys, you have to have like 1,000 tennis balls so you don't have to touch the same one twice. It's a mess.
Yeah, right.
We're all getting through
how
it.
About we just, one way or another, we're going to get to the other side. Mike Polk, thanks for the laugh. Much appreciated.
Stay safe.
And we will see you tomorrow when Mike joins us as co-host of What's New. I'm looking forward to that. Well, we know grilling season unofficially begins tomorrow. You know, it's the start of the Memorial Day weekend. Our friend Rocco Whalen is helping us perfect our grilling skills. He's also whipping up a summer favorite dessert that is coming up next. Matt, do we have more grilling weather in the forecast?
Oh, Jay, it is a perfect grilling day, not just today, but over the course of the weekend. We'll be dodging showers and thunderstorms, though. I've got the latest timeline on those. Have you ever tried grilled watermelon? It's delicious.
Welcome back to What's New. I am ready for grilling. Memorial Day is the perfect day to break out the grill if you haven't done so already. I chatted with local chef Rocco Whalen the other day about new ways to spice up your Memorial Day grilling.
Well, Memorial Day weekend just around the corner, and that really means it's summertime, the unofficial start to summer. And that also means that it's time to grill. And with that in mind, we decided we would go to one of the best. Rocco Whalen joins us now, famed Cleveland restaurateur, to give us some ideas for what we can do on the grill this summer. Rocco, great to see you. Why don't you just dive right in?
We're going to do start with some meats and different things of that nature. We're going to talk about some seafood on the grill, some nice big steaks, filet or beef tenderloin on the grill. We're also going to talk about chicken breast. We're going to talk just a quick little bit about timing. And then we're going to get to some fire roasted desserts with some s'mores and things like that. But here at the Fahrenheit, we're just preparing to reopen. Think about Memorial Day. Think about what you want to do to make your family happy. I like to do different things with different ingredients. So my salmon, a little salt and pepper. My beef, a little salt and pepper. The beef, Jay, thick, 8 ounces, 9 ounces. You know, those manly man cuts.
Nice.
For a long period of time. Season both sides of the chicken. We're going to go right on our grill. And when I do the grill, I've got sections, hot zones. We've got a hot zone for our meat because it's going to take a little bit of time. We've got our chicken, and we've got a nice piece of salmon I already did up. We're going to put that over here on the board. We're going to start our second piece of salmon. With that being said,
is there an amount of time that you like to give for each different piece of meat?
I start with my beef. I get it to about mid-rare. I put my chicken on. I put my salmon on. By the time that beef's well done, you let it rest a little bit. Your chickens come along. and then your salmon's coming along, and you're ready to eat. Jay, you got the marshmallows. We're just going to drip over the side of the grill here. I hope you can see that on our Zoom meeting here.
Very nice, yes.
3 or 4 different marshmallows. So now you see the action. We've got the meats, the chicken, the salmon. The marshmallows are getting ready to go on over and hoist. We've got our chocolate. We've got our grams for the weekend, Memorial Day. Make it nice and easy.
We're certainly wishing you and all the Cleveland area restaurants the best of luck as they really prepare to forge their way forward into a new normal. Rocco, best of luck to you. Have a great Memorial Day and enjoy it as much as you can.
Jay, anytime. Likewise. Go keep cooking on WKYC3, baby.
And Rocco, thank you. Now I'm hungry for s'mores. Matt, today was perfect. I'll take the next 4 just like it if you can whip that up. I'm in line for that.
Jay, we live in Northeast Ohio. I don't know if you forgot, but things tend to be a little rough around here sometimes. Have you ever had grilled watermelon, by the way?
I have not. I saw you were doing that. I've had grilled pineapple recently, which was delicious. So what's the deal? You just throw it on the grill, sear it, and then eat it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Really not sure. I don't want to give any grilling advice. I think that's what you do. You can add some basil with it too. I'm just coming up with ideas. This obviously didn't turn out too well. It's still a cloth, but I've had it before, and I forget how you do it. I think you just throw it on a grill. So let me know how that turns out this weekend, and if there's any fires or anything, I'm not responsible for that. All right, so Jay, it was nice, right? It was nice locally, but it was a much different story. Some of you watching right now had a cloudy, rainy day. Amazing how different things were within miles of each other. This has been the case the last few days with this swirling area low pressure. I mentioned last night, areas that saw sunshine, we make it in the 70s. Areas that didn't, we'd stay in the 60s. And how about this? Official highs, Mansfield at 64 today. Cleveland at 75. What a difference. The dew points have crept up. This measures how much moisture is in the air. We had an incredibly dry air mass the last few nights working in here from the east, but we're now back to the humidity. So Worcester, you can now feel the humid air, whereas yesterday you probably didn't feel it at all, and we're all going to turn more humid here. Not anything really too noticeable here over the next couple days, but next week things really start to change. Still some showers out there. This will continue to be the case overnight tonight. I think those clouds will creep their way north. We have some showers out towards Ashland right now, stretching down towards Millersburg. You can see the block of rain heading in here. This is the same low pressure we were dealing with last weekend. It is just not moving, and if it is, it's moving very slowly, but it's starting to trudge north. The jet stream that drives the system buckled way up in Canada, so there's really nothing to steer this system, and it's going to meander its way through Northeast Ohio tomorrow before kicking on out of here. Tonight, though, boy, what a great night to head out in the patio if you're in the northeastern half of the state. Temperatures will fall back into the 60s. A great patio looking forecast tonight. Tomorrow night, a little bit different story, but tonight is the night to get on out. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. You can see the rain spreads in here in waves. It's not going to be a washout, but we'll see periods of rain. Then it'll dry out for a while. We're all cool tonight, back into the 50s. For your Friday, it does look rainier than today. I think we'll have more clouds as well. Periods of showers from time to time. Temperatures a little bit cooler as a result. We should make it into the upper 60s. I think low 70s down to the south. But then we start to clear things out. Saturday looking pretty decent. I think we'll have a mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures respond with sunshine this time of year. We should make it in the mid-70s. Isolated shower chance possible out east. And then we turn the humidity up. Look at the muggy meter up into the humid and oppressive category. You're going to notice the change Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are humid around here, and that humidity is going to spark showers and thunderstorms. Not just for us, but the entire eastern half of the country. We'll see these daytime storms bubble up like we do in the summertime. So no real rhyme or reason to wear. But again, keep the afternoons in check because we are going to have some showers and storms. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. Cooler, relatively speaking, the next 2 days. I think Saturday's great, and then we're up into the mid-80s this week with some humidity. Overnight lows struggling to get below 70. So what a change, but it'll feel like summertime here for Memorial Day. Jay?
A welcome change. Enjoy that watermelon, Matt, and have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. America's Got Talent returns next week. Stephanie Haney tells us why Judge Heidi Klum will be missing from a few episodes. That's next in Pop Break. And our Worth the Watch involved a miniature beer garden and a squirrel. I'm not making this up. You'll see it coming up.
Mic check. This is it's not what's clicking in Cleveland, but it's Pop Break.
Well, time now for your pop break with news from Heidi Klum, Matt Lauer, and Bindi Irwin. Here's Stephanie Haney to fill us in.
A coronavirus scare put things on pause for America's Got Talent judge Heidi Klum earlier this year when she got sick in March with a fever and sore throat while taping the show. She was eventually tested for COVID-19, but thankfully it came back negative. This was back when COVID was just taking hold in the U.S., and Klum was understandably worried. So was her fellow judge Howie Mandel, who she says checked in on her every day. Klum is just fine now, but when you notice she's missing from several episodes of AGT's upcoming season, now you know why. Former Today Show anchor Matt Lauer is sporting new arm ink with a message. The tattoo reads, "Hatred corrodes the container it's carried in." The quote is from former Senator Alan Simpson, who said it during his eulogy for the late George H.W. Bush. Could Lauer's tat have anything to do with his feud with Ronan Farrow? Lauer is accusing the investigative reporter of not fact-checking claims made in his new book, which includes a section about Lauer's alleged sexual misconduct while working at NBC. But Farrow says Lauer's claims are just wrong, and the book was thoroughly fact-checked, including with Matt Lauer himself. And Bindi Irwin is honoring her dad, Steve Irwin, in her just-released wedding video.
I think that Dad's with us too, in a way. I think that his spirit lives on in everything that we do, so I feel like he's going to be there walking beside me and Robert as we head down that aisle.
Bindi and Chandler Powell were married at her family's Australia Zoo in March with no guests because of the pandemic, where they lit a special candle in honor of Bindi's dad, the crocodile hunter himself.
He walks beside us with everything that we do.
Yes, and in a way he brought us together.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
amazing that he's brought.
He really did bring them together. So Bindi and Chandler met back in 2003 at the family zoo in Australia when Chandler just happened to be in town for a national wakeboarding competition. He took a tour, and Bindi happened to be his tour guide. And how cute is this, Monica? Afterwards, Chandler wrote a letter to Bindi's mom asking if they could stay in touch, and the rest is history. It was definitely meant to be for them.
It's so amazing to see Bindi so grown up. I just can't help but seeing her with her dad when she was just a little kid, and now here she is, all grown up and married. Oh my goodness. Thanks for making me feel old, Steph. Appreciate it. All right, I'm starting to sense a theme here in this particular show because there's a squirrel that found herself a pretty awesome setup. We introduce you to her beer garden in the Worth the Watch segment.
All right, time for our Worth the Watch video. A curious squirrel made friends with a German family. A bored 10-year-old built the squirrel this little miniature beer garden. It's a small picnic table with a beer mug, and it's got a plate there, Monica, that's filled with nuts. They named the squirrel Madame. She now visits their patio at least once a day, and she has her own Instagram account. Of course she does, where others have asked the 10-year-old to make them a miniature table. Look how cute that is. It's incredible. Comes right up there, and she's eating the beer nuts right out of her hand.
Every hamster's going to want one too. You know it. So that kid's going to make a fortune.
Not? I know, pretty cool. I liked it. Very nice. That's going to do it for this Thursday edition of What's New. We're out of time. We're back tomorrow at 5. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you join us again soon.
And What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now, everybody.